Hello there, everybody. It's me, Callie. Hi, how are you doing today? I haven't done a video in a while, and I'm so excited to do this one because I'm going to talk about something that I'm really interested in, which is tarot and astrology and the connection between tarot and astrology. And I'm going to talk about the royalty of each suit and how you can connect them to the elements of astrology and the suit and each position or each member of that royal family. And this is a cheat that I use a little bit. I wouldn't call it a cheat because it just kind of works out perfectly and it's easier to, I feel, memorize, especially if you have some familiarity with astrology, because each suit represents an element in astrology. And at first, we're going to start with the Pinnacles. Now, these are our Pinnacles, and there's a page, a knight, a queen, and a king. And we're going to start with the pages of each suit. Now, with this suit, it is earth energy, and it represents things that connect with earth energy in regards to astrology. And it also has to do with security, job, finance, career. So these are usually things that when you read for a Virgo or a Capricorn or a Taurus come into play. They usually are very driven by earth energy and very much driven by Pentacle energy. So we're going to start with this page, and the page is kind of a lower level on the royalty, and this card represents Virgo, because Virgo is earth behaving as air. And that's the way you have to see it. Each one is that suit behaving as another suit. So we have earth behaving as air. And when you think of earth behaving as air, when I think of earth, again, security, finance, job. When I think of air, I think of things that are cerebral, psychology, academia, things that have to do with education, retraining, things that have to do with the mind. So this may be somebody, a lot of times when I draw this card, I'll wonder, are you considering going back to school? Are you considering some form of re-education, changing how you think about career? So usually this has to do with how we're perceiving or thoughts of career, which is something that is very, very important to Virgo. Also, when you think about being in the mind or being too much in the mind, I do think of Virgos because they too tend to have a lot of anxiety around work and being in their heads and trying to get themselves out of their heads. So the second card I want to go into is the Knight of Pentacles. Now, knights are fire energy, but pentacles, again, are earth. So this is earth behaving as fire. So when I think of earth, again, security, finance, job. But when I think of fire and wands, I think of action. So this is security behaving as action. A lot of times when I get this card, I'll think of possibly somebody who might need to move for a career, somebody who needs to take some sort of action to have the career or the job or the money or the security that they're needing in life. And when I think of this card, I connect this card to Capricorn. So if you're looking at a reading and you want to know about a Capricorn and this card comes up, there's a likelihood that this is a Capricorn that you're looking at. Now, this is the Queen of Pentacles. When I look at queens, queens are water energy because they're emotional. So because this is a pentacle, this is earth behaving as water. So this is security behaving as emotion. Sometimes I get this when people are a little bit afraid to leave a situation of employment or something. A lot of times they really, really are very emotional about what they do. Sometimes I get this with people who are really good at psychology, people who have a career that is very emotionally driven, writers, if you're really, really into the emotional element of career, or sometimes this can be you're emotional about your financial situation, but somehow there's an emotional component to the security and finance that's going into your life right now. And this is a card that I find represents Taurus a lot. Now, this is where it gets a little bit weird, okay? And I'll just be honest. Oh, let's bring the king back up here. We have such dyslexia. Now, the king is earth behaving as earth. So this is pure energy. This is not represented by any zodiac sign. This is just pure energy of earth as earth. So this is the sort of masculine element of security, finance, job. It's like security, finance, job behaving as security, finance, job. So this is like, I need to get focused on this. So there needs to be a focus, especially if this is accompanied by any ace. Aces are the ultimate energy and they're like a focus. So if you get a king, there's a lot of focus. If you get this particular king, especially, it's like, okay, if you get king of pentacles and any sort of ace, you know, you need to focus that energy on that particular thing. So next we're going to go into our cups again. Okay, so we have, our cup of our page of cups again. So we have water because cups are water, but because it's a page, we have water behaving as air. So we have emotion behaving as thought. This is sometimes I get this with a lot of people who are obsessed about something emotional, wondering if, I should invest in something that I love or should I go elsewhere. This is a lot of times, again, a student, but this might be a situation where the student needs to be in a position of doing something they love as opposed to something they don't love. And this card represents Pisces. So if you get this, you might be dealing with an issue with a Pisces. Now, this is a fun card. This is the Knight of Cups. This is sort of a romantic card. I jokingly call this the boom chicka boom card. So Knights are fire energies, cups are water. So this is emotion behaving as action. So this can be a very romantic card. I get this for a lot of like troubadour type of guys, men who like to be sort of Don Juans, sort of romantic, like to sweep you off your feet. All of their action is in romanticism and emotion. And so this is a card that is representative of Scorpio. Now we have the Queen of Cups. Now, queens, again, are water energy. So this is water behaving as water. And where the King of Pentacles represents that pure energy, the Queen represents the pure energy in cups. So when you get this, this isn't connected to a specific astrological sign, that's specific astrological, to a specific astrological sign, but it is just pure emotional energy. When I was learning the Queen of Cups, it was that sort of romance, Harlequin romance, like sitting on your porch doing this sort of thing, very romantic, very emotional, very sensitive woman. And this comes with all elements of femininity. This is the outside of the Empress and the High Priestess, this is probably the most feminine card in the deck. And it's all sort of the cliche of female emotion and dealing with that sort of emotion. So now we have the King of Cups. Now this is emotion, because it's cups, behaving as security. So when you get this, this is Cancer. This usually you're dealing with a Cancer person. This is somebody who is sensitive, but there's a little bit of a boundary to them. There's a little bit of, you're not going to get directly to them like you're going to do with the Queen. They try to not be as sensitive in public. So they're going to try to be a little bit more conservative, even though underneath all that conservative sort of protection, there is a very sensitive person there. So you're dealing with emotion, but this is somebody who feels like they have to not be flowing like water. They have to kind of pull back, and they don't want to be seen as super sensitive because they're more focused on security, finance, job. This is actually somebody who's kind of nice to work for unless they lean too much towards that water, because this is somebody who also has the security element, but also the potential to be very sensitive. So we're going to move on to Wands, which I've told you guys I've got a real sort of love for Wands, because I also write, and nothing happens without action. And these are your action cards. I know when I get these in a reading, it's easier for me to interpret what needs to happen, because for me, you can change action easier than you can change thought or emotion or a financial situation. So you look at it this way, it's about action. So this is our page, and this is fire behaving as air. So this is action behaving as thought. So when you have this card, this is normally somebody who can be a little bit impulsive. They may not think before they leap, but this is a card about thinking before you leap. It almost is a little bit like the Fool or the Hanged Man in that way, but it is definitely one, think before you take action. Make sure that you're not just being impetuous, and that you're not jumping at something too quickly. And this is a card that represents Sagittarius. Now, this is our Knight of Wands, and he's also sort of a romantic card, because this is action behavior. Now, this is actually more like sexual. He's more where the cups knight is romantic. This guy is more like, hey, let's have some fun. So he's more of a little bit of a sexual sort of card. And this is fire is fire. So this is like a pure fire energy. So this is action. This is all about action. This is the action we take. And when you get this, you know that everything needs to focus on action. Now we have, oops, there we are. We have the Queen of Wands. This is a card I get for myself a lot. I really like this card. So this is action behaving as emotion. And this is a very passionate woman. This is the kind of woman, a lot of actors get this card, a lot of public speakers get this card, a lot of actresses, a lot of women who are in the public who are not afraid to be seen, women who are a little bit extroverted. This is their sort of card. So this is the emotional self putting itself out there in action. So this is kind of a dramatic woman. She can be a little bit of a diva sometimes, but she definitely is sort of fearless in the arena of being out in public. This is a card that is represented by Aries, actually. And so if you get this card, this may be an Aries that you're dealing with, but you have to consider the emotional elements of action that is being taken. And then finally, we have the King of Wands. So this is action behaving as security. So when you get this, this is also sort of a card about looking to make sure that what you're doing is actually getting you the security and the financial situations. This is one where you may have to look at, am I doing things right? Am I putting the right sort of movement and action out there into the world to get the security I want? Maybe you may need to change jobs. Also, I find when I get this card, I may be dealing with somebody who doesn't truly know their value. Like they have a passion for something, but for some reason they don't feel that they have the value that matches the passion. So I will usually kind of say, okay, let's evaluate where you value yourself and how you can present yourself as a professional or in action in the world so that you can have the security that you need in life. So now we're going to go into pages very quickly. So, I'm sorry, swords. So this is the Page of Swords. And when you deal with pages of swords, this is air behaving as air. So this is the pure energy of that. Now, when you think of this as thought behaving as thought, when I get this, I tell somebody, you are in your head way too much. This is like, get out of your head, get out of your head, get out of your head. Because this is thought, thought, thought. All we're doing is thinking. We're thinking, we're thinking, we're thinking. So when you have the Knight, this is thought behaving as action. So this is like kind of planning. This is a good planning card. When you get this, you know somebody's really kind of taken into consideration how they can move forward, and they're very balanced. Somebody's very logical, very critical in a very positive way. And this is also a card that is represented by Libra. Now we have the Queen of Swords. So this is emotion. This is air behaving as water. So this is thought behaving as emotion. This may be, I get this a lot when people are thinking about romance too much. Like when they're too concerned about the romantic elements of themselves to the point that nothing else is moving forward. And sometimes they may have to let go of a relationship or evaluate a relationship when they get this card. So that, and that is represented of Gemini. And then we have, again, our king, and this is air behaving as earth, and this is Aquarius. So this is thought behaving as security. And so this is somebody who may spend a lot of time thinking about having the security that they need in life, to the point where they might be, sometimes I find with these swords, people overthink a little bit much, and you need to actually pull back on the thought and be a little bit more methodical in how you're thinking, especially if you get a lot of swords. So if you get this guy with a lot of aces, it's like, ooh, wow, a lot of thought about certain things. So this is, or this may be you need to think and reevaluate where you're putting your energy and security. But that's basically a cheat sheet for these. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. So please like my page, subscribe to my page. Please check me out on Facebook, Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Patreon. And now I'm in YouTube. I'm so excited. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please let me know what you think. Please share my videos. And thanks for watching. Bye.